How's everyone doing? My name is George Moda. I am a compliance officer for the Department of Procurement Services. I want to say thank you to everyone that came out today. I ask that if you have any questions, you wait till the end of the session to ask them. Today's workshop will be about contract payment tracking. On today's agenda, we will be discussing roles and responsibilities of the primes and subcontractors for reporting payments, email notification process, the importance of subcontractor payment confirmations, payment discrepancies, and who to contact when assistance is needed. On the slide here, we see the compliance audit process. So the compliance audit process is important for the prime contractor, the subcontractor, and ourselves. The first step of the compliance audit process is the first of the month. So the first of the month, the City of Chicago makes a payment to the prime contractor, which then in turn, the prime contractor logs into the C2 system, also known as a certification and compliance system. So they receive an email, they log in, and then in turn, they report their payments to their subs. The subs then receive an email notification, and they log in and they either accept the payment and the process starts all over again the next month, or they reject the payment, which then in turn creates an audit discrepancy. So I'm going to talk a little more about audit discrepancies a little later on during the presentation. So when an audit discrepancy occurs, us, the compliance officers for the Department of Procurement Services, receive an email as well notifying us that we received an audit discrepancy. But like I mentioned, we'll talk more about this in depth a little later. So the first step, when a prime logs into the C2 system, they automatically get populated to their dashboard. On the dashboard screen, you see the total number of contracts, the total number of contracts that are open, the total number of contracts that are closed. But our main focus is on the contract audit. Circled box, the circle red box is what we're going to be focusing on. So from this box, we see that the prime contractor has 7 incomplete audits and 1 audit discrepancy. As mentioned, I want you to remember this screen because we're going to come back to audit discrepancies. So I want you to put your cursor over the number 7, and you click on the number 7, and it pulls us up to our next screen. On here, we see the 7 incomplete audits that the prime contractor has. Although they're in the same month, they're for different contracts. The contract that we want to focus on is the one with the arrow pointing to it. The name of the contract is the MKE 123 MKE test. The reason the contract is named that is because this is our test trial. So when you click on the incomplete box, when you click on the word incomplete for that specific contract, it'll take you to our next screen. On this screen, it lets us know that the prime contractor has to report to 3 subcontractors. In the middle box under audit actions, you'll see that it says report 3 subcontractor payments. Right next to that, you see what the due date of when the payment has to be reported and the audit lock date of when the contract will lock. So when a contract locks, that's when you have to reach out to your compliance officer, and you know who your compliance officer is because it'll say it on the left-hand corner under compliance officer information. If you get lucky, it might be me. So, to advance to the next screen, you have to click on the Report 3 Subcontractor Payments. When you do that, it'll bring you up to your next screen. Here, we see that there are 3 subcontractors on the contract for the prime. So the prime has to report a payment for each sub. Even if the payment is $0, it still needs to be reported. On this screen, the prime has the opportunity to report to all 3 subcontractors at the same time. Or if the prime contractor wants to report to one individual subcontractor, he has the opportunity to do so too. The screen, although it may seem confusing, is fairly easy. It lays out on the bottom of the screen the 3 subcontractors that are performing on this job. So you would just enter the dollar amount, was the payment made within 7 days, and any payment detail you might want to add, whether that's the check number, and it gives you an opportunity to add documents as well. So let's just say you don't want to use this screen, and you want to make individual payments to each sub. What you do then is click on the sub that you would like to make a payment to. So we clicked on the subcontractor, and it pulls up the next screen. So this screen is for subsystem construction. On this screen, it asks for the amount paid on the April audit. So the prime would enter the dollar amount that he plans on making to the subcontractor. The payment that the payment date which the payment was made was the payment made within 7 days, and any payment detail that he might want to add. Again, that could be the money order confirmation number, the wire transfer confirmation number, or the check number. They can also add supporting documentation. A perfect example of that would be the canceled check. Only we can view any supporting documentation added. No one else can view that, just the City of Chicago compliance officers. And if this prime wants to add any comments in regards to this payment, there's enough space there for them to add any comments that they might have regarding this payment. So once the prime makes a payment to the sub, the prime is finished at that moment. The subcontractor then in turn receives an email from the C2 system notifying them that they received a payment from the prime contractor. They then in turn log into the system and follow the same exact steps that the prime followed to get to the exact incomplete audit screen. Once they click on the incomplete audit, the next screen that pops up is the screen that we're looking at. Here is where the sub has the same information as the prime, only to get to the next screen you have to click Confirm Payment Received. So let's click on the Confirm Payment Received. And it'll bring us to our next slide. Here it lists all the detail that the prime contractor put in when making the payment. The sub views this information for its accuracy. Here under audit information, we see that the prime contractor reported a payment for $5,000 and the payment detail that the prime provided. He listed the check number, the invoice number, and the date the payment was made. The subcontractor here has the opportunity to say, this payment is correct. So anywhere where you see an asterisk, the subcontractor has to answer. So if the payment was correct, the subcontractor would select correct, and then it goes down and it asks if this was the final payment. We would say, if the subcontractor is still working on the project, he would click, no, our work on this contract continues. If this is the final payment, he would click yes. Then we go to the next box and it says, is the prime withholding retainage? You would click yes or no. So if the payment is correct, we would just say yes, hit submit, and we wait till the next until the next month to receive the next audit. Let's just say the payment is incorrect. The subcontractor has the opportunity to click incorrect. Let's just say the subcontractor indeed was not paid $5,000 and was only paid $3,000 for his work. He would select the incorrect option, and then there's a public and private comments section. The sub has the opportunity to put any comments that he wants the prime or myself to see, or if he does want the prime to see any comments that he might make, he can put it under the private comments section, and those are the comments only your compliance officers can see. So once you click incorrect and submit any comments you might have, you click submit. Once you hit submit, your compliance officer for the project will receive an email notification that a discrepancy has occurred. We then, in turn, as a compliance officer, jump in to try and help resolve the situation of why this discrepancy occurred in the first place. Sometimes we receive discrepancies that may be simple. Maybe the prime entered the wrong date he received the payment. Or sometimes we do indeed receive discrepancies, where a prime says they paid $5,000 and a sub was actually only paid $3,000. We try to get as much information as we can from the prime and the sub to determine which information is correct. We would then reach out to the prime, give them a call, or send them an email asking that they submit some type of canceled check, and we will reach out to you asking you maybe to submit the invoice. That way we can determine what amount is actually correct. Once the discrepancy is resolved, the audit process starts all over again. If you have any questions, you can ask them now. No questions? Okay, well, I want to say thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you at our next workshop.